Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Review. My name is Mike Larkin, and by my side, as always, is the dead man of Raw Wrestling Talk, RWT, Mr. Paul Morales. Paul, it has been an eventful week in the world of professional wrestling. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. We took a little week off, but it's okay because we back at it now, and we here, you there, we here. So, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. And first of all, we got to give a shout out because the last time you did give a shout out to your lovely niece on graduating, and our boy, the doctor, was in the house at that graduation.
The doc, Mr. Amir Blackbane Costello. Actually, he graduated, and I believe that was this past week. And of course, his beautiful daughter Aaliyah and his handsome son Amir Jr. also graduated. He's going into high school. She's going to college. And my niece is going into college. So congratulations to all of them. You know, much love to all of you and your success. And let's see what happens to y'all next.
Hell yes, man. It is a fun week for graduations, education, and just overall warmth and wonderment. It is his Father's Day weekend. So shout out Happy Father's Day to all the dads.
Oh, yeah, that was my next one. I was going to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, including mine, yours, that other dude, my son. Actually, my son is a father too. I'm a grandfather, so shout out to my son for being, you know, a cool dad. So, and shout out to your father, shout out to my father, shout out to me because I'm also a father, and I know everybody else. Okay, so anyways, to all the fathers, Happy Father's Day. Enjoy your day. If you're barbecuing, well, make sure your wife goes out there and barbecues for you. Dang, it's supposed to be your day. She had her day last month, so it's not supposed to be your day. So now you need to go she need to be out there in the barbecue handling business because, you know, that's what happens. We take the day off and we ain't supposed to be out there barbecuing. So anyways, let's get into what is burning this week.
Well, you're making me hungry just talking about the barbecue.
I didn't even tell you what we're throwing on the grill.
All right. Well, I'll take whatever's on the grill, man.
Okay.
There's some food, fool.
But look. I'll make the potato salad, and you ain't got nothing to worry about. We got all the sides, mac and cheese, all available. Don't worry.
All right. Well,
I got them ribs. I got that pork butt up on there. Don't worry. You okay? And some chicken too, because you know. And then we got to have some vegetables for all the vegetarians. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I'll be like, right. We'll go to the cookout. I'm ready to go to the cookout.
Exactly. Where's Cody at? Because he ready for the cookout too.
Damn straight. Well, here's what we were ready for. We'll talk about one of the returns before we get into today's show, and as well from last week, we'll touch upon all the news and notes. But the return of Jeff Hardy to TNA last night.
TNA, yeah, baby. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to come on and make the save for his brother.
My thing is, you heard from PW Insider that he was going to be returning, and the fact that it was so quick, which makes me think the Hardys against the System, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards for the tag titles at Slammiversary. Can we see the Hardys in the 25-man Battle Royal next week on NXT?
Somebody had actually kind of teased that. Matthew Hardy actually said that he may be deleting 24 other people inside of the Battle Royal next week on NXT. So we have to see.
I'm really loving this relationship. And I mean, not only did we get Jeff Hardy in the amazing main event with Moose and Matt Hardy, but god dang it, man, we all knew it, but it was great to see. Tatum Paxley was the Open Challenge participant and challenger for Jordan Grace. What a match that was.
Yes, it was. It actually came out a hell of a lot better than a lot of people actually thought it was going to be. So we had a great one-on-one, a lot of spots up on the ropes, but other than that, it wasn't so much of a surprise. But hey, it was cool to see that crossover, man. You know, we're gonna see more of it. I mean, and WWE wants to work with also Marigold because Io Sky is actually heading over there to in July to actually wrestle. So you have to show that video too, because they'll show that picture too that she showed up for there too.
So that image will be boom right here along with that video. But what I love about it too is when you guys see the video coming up in this part.
An opponent for you for July 13th at Ryogoku. Take a look at the screen. Oh my
イオ
God.
スカイ様がマリーゴールドのリングにやってくる。
Let's do it in the Marigold Ring, says Io Sky
両
at
国国技館
Ryogoku Kokugikan on July the 13th.
林下歌美くん、日本の皆さんのみならず世界中のみんなが大注目するこの一戦、
This
ぜ
fight is
ひ
going to rock Japan,
歴史に名を残すような
and the world.
名勝負にしましょうね。
and let's write history with this match, with this fight.
See you there.
How about that, Sonny Gutierrez? The crowd just popped hard, and even Utami can't believe it herself.
Utami's dream match is going to come true.
The hairs on the back of my neck just stood to attention.
The reaction of the young lady, because this has been her dream match, but at the time, Io had left to go to WWE. So for me, I think it not only is it heartwarming, but number two, if there's anybody that's going to be on a Marigold debut show, it's got to be Io Sky, Io Shirai.
My goodness, her face was like lit up, and she was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, oh my God. She was just like that. Exactly. She was just dumbfounded, but I mean, I think she was just excited at the opportunity that she has before her to actually face probably one of her favorite wrestlers of all time. So, I mean, let's see what happens. Let's go.
For me, what I'm also looking forward to as well is, like you mentioned, Marigold. WWE talking about working with Noah, maybe some Mexico in there. Like WWE is like, who would have thought we would have seen this? Because during the Vince McMahon regime, no, but now with Triple H and everybody being more open, I think it's wonderful to see. Like it really is.
And that's kind of been the cutoff for a lot of us that have been WWE fans for a long time. I mean, yeah, we got the stuff back in the 90s, the USWA in the beginning of the 90s, you know, a little bit of ECW around 1990, around 97, 98, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And then, of course, we got the revised of the branded ECW, which wasn't very much of anything, but we got a lot of stuff, I mean, put out there. So, I mean, what's going to happen going forward, what we're going to see is WWE, you know, Triple H, Nick Khan, and TKO actually taking those risks to actually bring in other companies, much like EEW did or has been doing. But, you know, it's so great for wrestling fans, as like, you know, like us, dude. I mean, this just gives us more to talk about.
Speaking of something to talk about, Tony Khan was asked by TVSiderInsider.com about the working relationship with WWE TNA. He said, since we launched AEW, we've been looking to work with great wrestling companies across the planet. The relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling developed in 2021 and built to the point where we teamed to do a co-branded event like Forbidden Door. We're approaching the third one. It's a whole new level of great cooperation between wrestling promotions to see the stars of CMLL and Stardom, in addition to the great wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling competing with AEW stars. I'm always open to working with great wrestling promotions all over the world. It feels like the spirit of cooperation worldwide pro wrestling is greater than it has ever been, which is a big positive, seeing the top stars of AEW go to Tokyo and compete at Wrestle Kingdom. I think that the fans can always count on AEW and New Japan to put on great collaborations. I think this year's Forbidden Door will be one of the strongest showings any promotion will put anywhere in the world. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what that does. Again, we always talk about how the relationships, this is healthy, it's wonderful, it's the vibrancy that we need in professional wrestling. And before we even get more into the events, I have to bring this up on the subject of Tony before we get to The Undertaker. He does it for the sickos. Can we do? I know it's been about a week and a half, but he does it for the sickos. Why? Like, honestly, why, Tony? Why do you have to say these things? He does it for the sickos. Why, man?
I don't know why he has to actually open his mouth to say dumb shit like that. I mean, it just, to me, it makes no sense. I mean, granted, you know, we all put on, I mean, they all put on different shows, different types of shows. And, you know, it's cool that he wants to put on a show, you know, however, which way he wants to put it on. You know, if he wants to have all these shows that run for like hours and hours and hours, you know, I mean, you're there. I mean, a lot of these people are there early. I mean, a lot of these people are there, you know, at least 2 hours before the show, but before the main show, because you know they got to get it. They got to get their they got to get all their goodies. You know, they got to get all their merchandise. Then of course you got the hour. You got the zero and everything else like that. And I mean, I think I understand, you know, he wants people to have their money's worth, but you know, sometimes a little bit less goes a long way. Much like how Triple H is doing it right now. You know, that concept for NXT actually works. You know, for 5-6 matches, it works. If you can spread them out and tell a story, it works. You don't need all these stories that are overlapping, bunched up. I mean, but of course you do want to tell stories. You always want to tell them. But at the same time, you want to be able to allow stories to work, you know, wrestling matches to work, you know, and the wrestlers to work. So like, we'll take Clash at the Castle, which was today, since we're recording on a Saturday. Great. 5 matches, great show. Knocked it out the park. But the person that I believe you're going to show right now.
Yep.
Nick Nemeth on the Busted Open on yesterday. Yes. Discussing exactly pretty much the exact same thing I'm talking about, which I took a few clips from. But hey, why don't we start it and you go?
Hell yes. But first, before we get that, I just got to mention Book Wrestling for the Sickos, because that's what I am and that's who I care about. Then he makes Zuzix and Mercedes Moné out of nowhere. Then wake up the bots and tell them that we're having fun over here in AEW. And then the most important one was these are some predatory business practices that Jim Crockett Promotions and many former wrestling territories faced in the 1980s. I'm very grateful to all you wrestling fans who watch AEW, and AEW is here to stay. Now, that's my only thing. Why do we have to talk about the collision ratings that WWE is out to get them, and Dave Meltzer with his WWE is afraid of AEW stuff? Like, it was just so unnecessary, Paul.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean anything. I mean, to a lot of people, to a lot of fans, I guess, you know, if you're one of those hardcore AEW fans, yeah, you love this. But I mean, as just fans in general of wrestling, this is about as much nonsense that you get. I mean, and I understand how old he is. I understand how old Tony Khan is, but dude, you're acting like a 15-year-old who just couldn't get laid. And that's being real, you know. And I mean, if he's got a girlfriend or he's got a wife, and you know, I don't know his whole situation, so I'm not going to speak on it. But dude, how you're acting is like a 15-year-old kid who couldn't get laid.
It's a jilted.
But who wants to talk about getting laid all the time?
Right.
But that's oh my God, I did this and I did this, you know, and talking about, you know, whatever. That's not what this is about. In all honesty, it just seems like he's trying to compensate for something else.
I could see that. And I mean, speaking of compensation for something else, you did mention the Nick Nemeth one. Like I said, I love the news and notes, because this one over here pulled the old Bobby Fish on me. I'm talking to you, Paul Morales, with Where is the Lie? So we're going to see where the lie is, because there is no lies detected. Here is Nick Nemeth with David LaGreca and Thunder Rosa on Busted Open, talking about the breakdown and the length of special shows. Here we go.
Take WWE out of the equation. They do 5 or 6 matches. I love that, because I was in a 15-year window where matches were 5 minutes long, or sometimes pushed to 2 or 3 minutes at a pay-per-view. I love that they have the time. Take it out, put it in a bubble, the AEW show. Tony Khan wants wrestling, loves wrestling, wants the most bang for the buck. So even though like analytics would say the best possible show, I've heard this, I do research for years on live events, pay-per-views, 2.5 hours to 2:45 is the most you want to do. You don't want people burnt out for your main event. Take that totally in a vacuum by itself without WWE. And I go as a fan, hey, you know what? Tony loves wrestling. I love wrestling. Like you said, Dave, pay him $50. You're not on some subscription service. You're paying $50. I want this show to go to 4 a.m. I'll watch the other half tomorrow. I don't care. I want the most possible bang for my buck. So let me get something. If I'm paying my hard-earned money, I totally understand that perfect window. They wanted baseball shorter. They wanted everything to fit that window where your attention span still fits and the main event works. I think with AEW, screw it, man. Keep giving me everything you can give me. I'll watch that pay-per-view till midnight. I'm on the West Coast, so I got it till 10 o'clock. So I'm fine. But man, watching all those matches tires you out as a fan and makes the last two a little tricky to make them show stealing and involved in them. If you got there 2 hours before the show and got some snacks and got some t-shirts and watched the preliminary matches and the show and that 1 hour YouTube, then the long ass pay-per-view, then you got a long day and you might not leave that thing with like, man, I want to see more. I can't wait to come back. You might go, man, I need a break for a few months. We'll come back some other time. So like I see both points, but man, you know what? Screw it. Tony Khan loves wrestling. Fans love wrestling. Give us everything you got. I'll stay up and watch it.
No lies detected by Mr. Nick Nemeth at all, Mr. Paul Morales.
And like I said, you know, and I've stated this countless times. I don't have a problem with AEW as far as like the wrestling that goes on. I have no problem with it. It's always, and I will say it again, it's the damn storylines. Some of them have been better than others. Some of them are just kind of like winding. And then of course you get the start and stop ones, which make no sense to me. And then you get the ones that are kind of out of the blue. Oh, well, this person's wrestling this person, this person's wrestling this person, this person's wrestling this person as to why they're wrestling them. When you have a whole freaking, a whole roster of people when you're supposed to be making those rating systems work, or ranking systems work, but they're not. You know, it just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But Nick actually hit on some spots, because as wrestling fans, we love watching wrestling, you know, but after a while, yes, I'm not trying to sit there for, you know, a WWE 80 match freaking pay-per-view, you know, and of course I'm not letting these guys go out there and do like, I think there was another part of Nick actually mentioned about going out there doing like 5 minute matches here and there, and you know, and trying to make trying to fill the card. So it's like you have high octane matches that are real quick, and then of course you got the lengthy ones. But that somehow Tony seems to have this some sort of obsession with like long matches for every single match. Dude, give me 7-8 minutes in a match, you know, 9 minutes, boom, done. Cool. If it shows all that you need to, cool. If it doesn't really if it's kind of continuing the story, okay, great. But if there's a finish to this story, or some dramatic climactic finish to this story, then I would like to see it run 30 minutes, you know, 40 minutes if it works, but it always has to work.
Well, that's my thing, because it reminds me of, dude, it's like watching a Ring of Honor show. Like, I was there for Claudio Castagnoli and Milano Collection AT back in 2006. They went like 20, 30 minutes, and it was just like every match. Like, if you look at Ring of Honor, like Gabe Sapolsky in the booking at the time, they like to go 20 plus ass minutes. So a lot of how he wants to book wrestling is like how Dave Meltzer wants the 5 stars and how Ring of Honor used to be booked. And now that he's got the book of Ring of Honor, that's what Tony Khan looks for with how the pure wrestling matches go. When we talk about the story, it's like tonight, like Ichisero's wrestling Dalton Castle and him in the Gates of Agony because they tried to recruit him on Rampage and are beating them up. And then here comes Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and like, what's his face trying to help like Dalton Castle. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell does Daniel Garcia and Matt Menard have to do with this? You know, it's just stuff like that. And the fact that Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, who were feuding last month, he turned on Kyle because you're nothing without me. Now friggin' Roddy's like, oh, but you have something missing. I'm that something missing. There's something missing to you, Kyle. And then Tony Schiavone's even like, you know, Roddy, didn't you attack him last month? And he's like, yeah, I did, but I did so he can realize, like, you know, he needs me. But I'm like, we're really going back to this story after Kyle O'Reilly had 2 fucking matches and then got an international title shot out of nowhere. Like, that's the problem here. We're going back to something that we did a month ago that didn't make sense, and now we're going to do it again. But okay, this is why it makes sense. It's stuff like that.
So I'm gonna run back to something that Moses and I used to do. So actually, it was me, Moses, Amir. Speaking of the doctor,
Okay.
And we used to have Moni come in, and of course Teddy P, come in and do a show together. So we used to take like old pay-per-views, and we used to pick them out of nowhere. So I took this AWA show, old AWA, and they were actually kind of going, whoa, it's such a slow pace, and oh my god, it ran like 25-30 minutes, and oh my god. And I could see their critique, or I can hear their critique and everything. And after watching it, I understood it, but at the same time, it was all telling a story, because for back then, it was always every single pay-per-view used to have an ending.
Yeah.
To specific stories, or it was a continuance to a story. So the one in particular that I chose, I can't even remember the name of it, but
the Wrestle Rock Rumble, was it Super Clash?
It was. I couldn't even remember. I honestly, I really can't. But if I do remember it, I'll let you know.
Oh.
But the thing is that it was such a cool show to me, because I remembered it. I remembered it live, and back then it was only like $9.99 for like a pay-per-view. So because it was AWA, it wasn't WWF or or NWA or anything like that, because old ones. But the fact is that it was Vern Gagne and I think it was like Wahoo McDaniel who were facing each other. But it was to me it was a great match. Not like fabulous 5-star match, but in my mind it was like, it told a story. There was bloodshed, and there was a good pace to it, so it worked. And all the other matches were pretty much like 15 minute long. So they were like, oh my god, we're going through this whole pay-per-view, and they were critiquing it. But I get it. I get where they were at. But now we look at how AEW is doing it, and there's a lot of them that don't make sense, and there's a lot of them that are, the pace on them are so like that old AWA, old NWA pacing to them, which is cool, but they need to make sense. And if a lot of AEW pay-per-views don't necessarily make sense. A lot of their, not pay-per-views, but I mean, a lot of the matches that they throw together just don't make sense. Not to me anyway.
Well, I got to put this out here now. Are you going to buy the t-shirt? Hi, guys. Are you going to buy that from the Learning Tree? Freaking Jericho and Big Bill, the Redwood, and Brian Keith, the Bad Apple with Private Party. This is how you come off the top rope, guys. Hi, guys.
Oh my god, this Learning Tree. I mean, I you know what? It's pretty funny now. It's pretty funny in a odd way.
Yeah.
But it is growing on me, because the same thing that we had before with the Jericho Appreciation Society. We had that, and listening to him on how he was presenting everything, it was cool. So I mean, now it's whatever to me.
Well, that's for me too. And I mean, I look at it like this, man. When you look at what we got going with the Learning Tree and what they're doing now at Private Party, I mean, it serves its purpose for the fact that it's annoying and it's just like, oh my god, it's cringeworthy. But that's the main thing with it. And I mean, with what we're doing with AEW now, we'll stay on the topic of Tony Khan here, because Tony Khan was the target and one of the other ones that we saw this week. And you brought to my attention, I talked with you about it. The Undertaker has been getting crucified. Your boy, the Undertaker. See, it says Deadman RWT. That's why you get it. That's where you get it from. So we got the Undertaker pretty much said on his podcast that he doesn't know if Tony Khan is the guy to run a wrestling company, in hopes that one day AEW gets their crap together. And he said this, and I quote, hopefully one day, I mean, a lot of people don't think the way I do, but one day AEW gets their crap together and genuinely creates some competition. That'll probably not a popular take for most WWE insiders, but the way I look at it, I mean, competition's only going to make you better. I don't think there's a real true leader in the locker room, and I'm not sure. I have nothing against the man. I don't know that Tony Khan is the guy to run the company. His heart is in a good place, and he wants to do something, but I just don't know if he has the ability to make good judgments and swift decision-making.
But he's not wrong.
Oh, no.
He's really not wrong.
Yeah, to run a wrestling company against the juggernaut that is the WWE. But hey, I could be wrong. I hope they get it together. It's better for the wrestlers, the fans. It's better for everything. And then people went at the Undertaker like, well, don't listen to him, Tony. What does the Undertaker know? He's only been in the business for like 30, 40 years. Like, he's a legend. He made himself one of the most iconic characters in the history of professional wrestling. And the AEW fans, what does the Undertaker know? He's just old. Just bitter.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you already threw out the credits that he's been in the business for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, what would the Undertaker know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows how to help people. I'm pretty sure he knows how to get guys over.
Maven.
And you know what? Hey, we'll talk about Maven. Fine. We'll talk about Maven. And Maven actually pointed it out in his podcast.
Yep.
And told him, it wasn't my idea. It wasn't even Vince's idea. This was the Undertaker's idea, because he was like, hey, why don't I go out there, clear the ring and blah, blah, blah. He comes in and tosses me over the ropes, and then I come in and whop his ass. And it put him over for a little while. Yeah, it was hard to do, but hey, sometimes the crowds like it, sometimes the crowds don't. But we have to remember is that he was a heel at that time. He wasn't a face, he was a heel.
Yep.
But it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it kind of made Maven made people kind of hate Maven, because it was the Undertaker. Of all the damn people you want to throw out and all the people you want to mess with, dude, you ain't nobody but
Tough Enough champ. That was it.
But he put him over. He said, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to do this. And Maven was like, wait, what?
Really?
You're going to do what for me? Really?
It's like that story with Cody Rhodes when he was in the Royal Rumble with Undertaker in 2008. He's like, I hit this man so hard in the back of the head. He just goes, kick me in the knee, kick me in the knee. And then he goes, drop kick me. And then Cody gets to do a spot with the Undertaker where he drop kicks him in the Royal Rumble. He let Cody Rhodes drop kick him. Cody Rhodes was a nobody at the time.
Exactly.
Kick him.
But I mean, yeah, of course, we'll talk. There is a big discrepancy between Maven and Cody Rhodes.
Of course.
I mean, granted, that's Dusty's son. That's Dusty's son. So, he's gonna end up doing what he's gonna end up helping him. Yeah. But I mean, that's just who the Undertaker is. He helps people. He tries to put people over. So if it was to help the company and be beneficial to the company, why would he not want to do it? And this is a critique by, again, somebody who's been in the business for over 40 fucking years. So it may be a critique, but he wants, much like Bully Ray said, he would come to the company and he would help him out. Again, veterans wanting to help a company because it's the growth of wrestling.
And Rene Dupree,
it's to help everybody grow and, of course, benefit and profit.
Rene Dupree offered to help him. I mean, it's not like his father, Emile Dupree, was like a successful promoter in Canada. Like, I think Rene Dupree would know how to help him. But there's so many things. Like you mentioned, The Undertaker. This is a guy who put over fucking Vladimir Kozlov, who was terrible at the time.
Exactly. And that's again somebody else that he wanted to work with and somebody else that he wanted to make sure got over in the business. So why would you expect anything less from somebody who was very, very articulate and very, very critical of not only himself, but everybody he was in the ring with? But he wanted to make sure that everybody got their fair share and everybody got put over.
I mean, dare I even say the summer of 2000 with Kurt Angle, who was his first like one-on-one really big prominent role on pay-per-view, The Undertaker. Dare I say Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker, one of the most underrated ladder matches on Raw. Dude, like, we could be here all day with this.
Dude, we could be here all fucking day. And we won't even talk about the big names in the company.
Yeah.
We could talk about the little guys that have been in the company that he's tried to help and put over and tried to generate and tried to help them out, not only as wrestlers, but in the ring, outside of the ring, and of course, it just in life in general. So fuck everybody who also thinks that this guy is just there just to fucking say this shit. No, because he said it. I want the business to grow, period.
Well, speaking of people in the business to grow, I think this one, I don't know if he wants it to grow or he just wants to friggin' just piss a lot of people off, which he does on a daily basis. We'll go to our boy, Uncle Dave, next. Dave Meltzer. This was on the finish, and we watched this as well, man. Jack Perry and Dustin Rhodes and the lack of selling from Perry for the Shattered Dreams. Oh, my goodness. People will look at that and go, oh, Jack Perry. But it's like, I'm sure Dustin Rhodes was heavily involved in this match because watching the match, it was a Dustin Rhodes match rather than a Jack Perry match. So Dustin was in charge, and Dustin's got all the experience in the world. I would think that Dustin, being the veteran, was probably involved in the laying out of the match, and shouldn't he be screaming in the corner? I don't mind like 20 seconds later, you know what I mean, that you come back from that. Shattered Dreams, but there should be a screaming in the corner and crying from that Shattered Dreams thing before you're already back on offense. The Shattered Dreams kick should be something. It used to be a finish. It should be something where you don't just go right back on offense the next second. So that was Dave's critique on the Dustin Rhodes Jack Perry match. And I mean, I know what he's talking about. I saw the Shattered Dreams spot where he was doubled over.
Yeah, I know. I saw it too. And this is kind of along the lines of Orange Cassidy not selling.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of along the lines that this is kind of along those same lines. It's like, how are people supposed to believe that this dude was lit on fire, yet he got the pin in the freaking Anarchy in the arena?
Yeah, it's just,
how was this dude beat the hell out of, had the holy hell beat out of him,
set on fire,
and set on fire, and yet he's the one that got the pin? It makes no sense to me. But seriously, it doesn't make any sense. None of it. It's like, I can go out there, have this great ass match, but yet I ain't selling for nobody.
But the thing with me too, and I look at how Dave Meltzer critiques it, I always equate it to like what Brian has now, because Brian's really been more spoken up about against Dave. It's like how Brian doesn't get like, and here was my thing that really got me about him. Like this week he talked about he didn't understand why Shawn Spears beat Javon Evans on NXT. It's like Shawn Spears, you know, he's doing nothing, nobody cares. And I'm like, okay, Javon Evans' first feud is with a veteran in Shawn Spears. Like, yeah, but he's wrestled Ilya Dragunov, and he was team with Trick. And he's like, maybe he should go for the North American title when Wesley eventually fixes it. No, you're not going to keep him on an undefeated streak. And his boy even argued him. He's not Goldberg. You're going to have him feud with a veteran to help him get better. And what better veteran to work with than the cult leader who wants to take over everybody in Shawn Spears and NXT? It's the veteran working with the young talent. Like, I'll give you an example. CM Punk, when he was first on ECW, what veteran did they have him work with? Hardcore Holly. Hardcore Holly, who they just put on ECW to work with the young talent, who was Paul Heyman's hired gun. Like, his first feud was with Hardcore Holly. Like, going in there, the young guy versus the veteran has been a testament in the world of professional wrestling from storytelling. It doesn't hurt if Shawn Spears beats Javon Evans, because that just leads to Javon Evans getting the win over him and the feud that he has in his first run here in NXT. It's totally fine.
John Cena, Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle. Boom. John Cena, Kurt Angle. John Cena, Kurt Angle.
Do I need to say anything? Do I need to say any more? No. It's just John Cena, Kurt Angle.
Like,
and
hello.
You look at that, he put him over.
Yeah.
And Undertaker and Mark Henry.
Yeah.
And he put him over. Because he knew he was a big guy, and he knew he needed some seasoning, but he knew the best way to do it was to put him over. And what did he do? He put him over.
I mean, great colleague.
You do it. You do it for the business. What's better for the business? Again, back to something I just said. You work with young talent and you put them over. Plain and simple.
I mean, the Great Khali wasn't anything special, but the Undertaker put him over. All right, this is the monster you want me to work with. I'll make him look as good as I can, the best that I can do with it. So, I mean, yeah, it's just people don't understand that, like Brian. And I mean, with the fact that he also, I look at the AEW stuff, and I mean, the fact that Dave is so intent on defending everything that's been going on with it. I mean, everything with this week, I think this was the first time that NXT beat them. You could say about the NBA or whatever, but you could see like the interest is there for this WWE TNA crossover. This has got everybody talking. Like, it's such a hotbed right now for this company.
Yeah, I know they could say a lot of things about this past week and only Cody Rhodes pretty much being there, and you know them stacking their programming because AEW was going up against the NBA finals and whatnot. But if AEW puts on a good show, even if they don't have headlining, I mean, granted, they have a lot of people that are on the shelf, but you could have Mercedes there, and I'm sorry to say she is not a moneymaker.
No.
As much as people want to say, I'm sorry, she is not a marquee name. But she is a great wrestler. I'm not saying that she's not. So y'all don't come at me and start hating on me. I am saying that she is not a marquee name, because if she was, then she would be there every week and people would be in the seats rooting for her and wanting her to succeed, but they're not.
Now, let me just say this, and I will say this about this. You mentioned Cody Rhodes in NXT, but we mentioned the cookout earlier. But Cody Rhodes, Shawn Spears, Lexis King, Brian Pillman Jr., and Ethan Page, the Spider-Man point. Like, it seems like you guys are in a good place. What were your thoughts on that little exchange on NXT?
I thought it was great. I know what the intended shot is, but it was really, really great. Much like he did on SmackDown too. He made a little comment and talk about, he mentioned WWE, he mentioned going over to New Japan, he mentioned our Ring of Honor, and of course he mentioned, creating a company with his best friends, and he wanted to come back to WWE because he wanted to challenge himself. So he did mention it, but and a lot of people were kind of shitting on him, saying, well, why are you over here kind of throwing AEW under the bus? Well, he didn't necessarily say anything derogatory about them, but he was telling the guys that were there they're in a good place. So, which is a great thing. So, with that, I mean, what more do you want from him? I mean, it's either you want him to succeed, or you want him to fail.
Here's my thing. Here's the difference where how WWE takes shots and AEW takes shots. AEW was just directly, and it's crass. WWE is more, if you know, you know. They're very subtle with it. They don't have to mention the name, because you might know what they talk about, you might not, but they're more subtle, and if you know, you know. That's the difference with how they insult compared to what AEW does. So,
yeah, exactly. There are subtleties, and of course you know it. You know it as soon as you hear it.
So let us talk now about Dave Meltzer talking about Jada Parker, who I'm going to say right now, out the mud. I love what she's doing there. I think she's one of the prominent talents in the women's division. Finally, Dave Meltzer has got something right. Here we go. Dave Meltzer has been very impressed with Jada Parker's progress in WNXT, calling her a hell of a worker considering her level of experience. Considering how long she's been wrestling, I think Jada Parker's really good. Jada Parker's out there, and she's like in control. She knows who she is. She knows what she's doing. Her wrestling is pretty darn good for her level of experience. But I don't want to say even look, but she just carries herself like she knows what she's doing. Her confidence level, I think she's going to be a hell of a worker. One of the key things is to kind of like own the room, and a lot of the younger wrestlers can't do that, but she's doing it already. And she's only been on TV for a short period of time. Every scene she's in, she looks like she's somebody, like she's a star. Boom. Boom.
Boom.
Jada Parker, not only just her overall ambiance and just her swag and how she really does everything with the cadence, with how she cuts her promos and how she works. She's been such a bright spot, and I can't wait till she goes more for the women's North American title. Like the feud with Mia Yim right now, Mi Chin, I've been enjoying that. The fact that she smacked her ass when she pinned her was absolutely hilarious on NXT. Like, I've been really enjoying
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought as soon as she rolled her up and then she went bam right up on her butt cheeks, I was like, oh wow.
I've been really enjoying the Jada Parker Mia Yim feud.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it too. I'm enjoying how they're producing all the women wrestlers. I'm enjoying how they are literally working with every single one of them to level. No pun intended, level up on a lot of them. So they could see who are the workers. They could see who are the ones that need seasoning, but you could see the ones that are building up. And of course, Jada Parker right there, man, that girl is literally busting her ass to do what she do, and I hope at one point in time that young lady gets her that North American championship. By the way, I will say this. I wasn't exactly happy that it was,
I
wasn't exactly happy that I'm sorry. I like her. I really
I know.
I really do, but that wouldn't have been the right choice. So Ruka, yeah, would have been my first.
Mm-hmm.
And had Nikita Lyons been there, yeah, that probably would have been my first.
So
look, and I would have said the same thing had it been Cora Jade. Had it been Cora Jade, because Cora Jade is really, really excellent in the ring, I would have said her too. But again, nothing against her, but I just don't see her as being a champion. Not yet, anyway.
I concur with you, and it breaks my heart. As soon as you say that, I'm like, oh, it's tearing me up because I like Kailani Jordan. Congratulations to her. I really enjoyed the match. But my pick for heel standpoint to get her over, I was going Fallon Henley to get it. I think Fallon would have been a great choice to be the heel. Or I think Jada Parker would be too soon. I think Kailani's too soon now with her with the championship. Mia Yim as the veteran was in there to help with the young girls. But I think Sol Ruca is going to be great in the chase to get that championship. And I mean, it looks like we're getting Kailani Jordan to Mia Yim now, since Mia Yim just beat Jada Parker. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think with Kailani Jordan, I like her. She's the underdog, very Dana Brookish. We see the vibes from her. But god dang it, man, it's too soon. And I liked the match, but I thought the wrong person won. And I mean, speaking of, we'll go in NXT Battleground really quickly here. I did enjoy not only that, but I got to say, Roxanne Perez and Jordynne Grace was one of the bouts of the night. Jordynne Grace with her ear. Oh, my God. Her friggin' ear.
I saw her pull back, and then it just happened. Like, it was like real quick. Boom. And she had blood on her. I thought it was lipstick at first. That's what I first thought it was. I thought it was lipstick. And then I saw a couple of drips from the side of where her ear was at, where she tore the earring off of. And then I go, oh, okay. And I remember that when the beginning of when they were introducing her, that she had earrings on. I'm sorry, I would have thought she might have wanted to take them off, but
right.
Hey, if she's wrestled with them before, and she says she's never had any issues, but the fact that it got caught in Roxanne's fishnet stockings, her fishnets that she was wearing, yeah, it was kind of unfortunate, but hey, it didn't take away from any of the match. It actually improved. It actually went with the match and really, really certifiably got them over. And the fact that Tatum Paxley came out, and of course by Ash by Elegance. Ash by Elegance came out. I'm sorry. Vic. I'm sorry, Vic. You messed that one up, but hey, I'll give you credit for it.
Nick Joseph is so awesome. He almost called her Dana Brooke.
He was like Dana, but it was Ash by Elegance. Hey man, it was a great match. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Jordan be a double champion, but I get it. She's from another company, and time will tell. It will happen, especially with this partnership. So it'll lead us into what we talk about as far as like Against All Odds in a little bit. So it was a really, really good pay-per-view. Or PLE. I didn't care for the Trick Williams match. I didn't care for it, but it was okay.
So for me, I liked Nathan Fraser and Axiom against the OC, and I thought
that was a great match. That was a really, really great match.
It made sense for them to put over the young guys. We mentioned Roxanne and Jordan. Can I just say, people hated that Dana Brooke got involved, Ash by Elegance. I'm like, you do realize that on TNA it makes sense because they're feuding.
Yeah,
they're feuding. It made sense. And Tatum Paxley getting involved because she wants the title made sense. But people were crapping on Dana Brooke. I'm like, if you actually watch her character in TNA, which I gotta say, I like her character. Like, she's funny. She's a heel. It works. She's found herself within this new character. So, I mean, it's great to see Dana Brooke flourishing on that side. But like you mentioned, and before we get into Trick and Ethan Page, you also showed me this because Dave Meltzer commented on this match. He said, it was fine. It was a basic professional wrestling match. It was not a pay-per-view main event match. Basically, it was like a normal television match. That's what I would call it. Trick needs a great opponent to have that caliber of a match. Ethan Page is a very good wrestler, but, I mean, it was fine. It also wasn't that long. It was a lot shorter than the usual main event they would do on a show like this. Usually those would be 12 minutes, and this was like 20 minutes, and this was like 12. They just kind of went for a while. Ethan Page pretty much carried it, looked fine doing it, and then they just went right to the finish. Trick does the high knee. When there was a distraction, he gets the pin, and it was kind of like, okay, he won, you know. I mean, what Dave is saying there, it's not wrong. It's really not wrong. I didn't hate the match, but it kind of felt like there was something missing to it. There was a nice power slam through the table, and they worked hard. But him not admonishing to the referee, and then the trick shot out of nowhere, it kind of just felt like very abrupt to me. And we've seen Trick against Ilya, we've seen Trick against Carmelo, great matches, and Ethan Page is a solid worker, but this one needed a little more oomph for me.
I think it was more so where it was at. And a lot of people were shitting on the Apex arena.
Oh,
I mean, and yeah, in Vegas. I mean, and a lot of people were saying it was too close and there wasn't enough space for them to work. And I mean, you could see that pretty much in the ladder match, and of course, you could see it in the OC versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier. But I mean, you saw it. And it looked like it was very confined. I mean, Trick Williams trying to jump on Ethan Page, and he couldn't go very far. And then where he was standing at, there was another set of steps to get into the ring, and it was very, very confining. But it's also those steps should not have been out there. Those steps should have been, you should have had one set of steps to get into the ring, one, and that's it. You didn't need all these other ones. I mean, these wrestlers can jump on the apron and get in the ring, but if you have one set of steps to get into the ring and you don't need all that, it doesn't need to be there. If it didn't need to, if the spots didn't need to have happen, then those things, they could have did it without that spot. And what I'm trying to get at. So I thought it was an okay match, and I agree with Dave. It probably would have been better for the TV show, but not a PLE. So it was a good match.
For me, I look at Trick, and man, this match for me, I look at this entire card. I mean, the more oomph, like we mentioned, but I think Trick is going to continue to do his thing, and I mean, Ethan Page is going to do his thing. When we mentioned the 25-man battle royal coming up, but Lola Vice getting that big win over Shayna Baszler in the NXT Underground. What were your thoughts on that match and Lola getting the big win?
I thought it was cool, but I thought it kind of ran a little long.
Yeah.
And I get it. You were trying to fill some time, but you could have ran Ethan and Trick a little longer. If that was your main event and it would have ran at least 20 minutes and they did something with it, okay, great. But that match, I mean, you got people kind of flopping all over the place.
Yes.
And it wasn't great. I mean, I would have rather had seen it in the Octagon had it been that more than anything. If it was Raw Underground, if it was NXT Underground and it would have been an Octagon, great. Hey, cool. Had they filmed it and it been in an Octagon or whatever, and great. But that live just seemed like it was just like both of them kind of running all over the place, or kind of like falling all over the place, and the shots didn't even look like they were legit. I mean, there were some that were hitting. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some that were hitting, and then there were some that were just like they weren't doing enough.
I think overall, when you really look at the pay-per-view, like you mentioned, the strikes and kicks and how they presented the matchup, I think it was a solid show. I think we've seen better NXT takeovers. This one was just kind of like meh, but I look forward to the one that we have coming up in Toronto. I think against all odds, I mean, you had Mustafa Ali and Trent Seven, which was good. The ABC,
which was a really good match.
Yeah, ABC, and who was it? Was that with the one with what was it? Eric Young and Josh Alexander, I think.
Yeah, Josh Alexander, that's the one.
Steve Macklin and what's his face? Oh God, what the hell is his name? Steve Macklin and who the hell was the other guy he was teaming with? Steve Macklin.
I can't even remember.
Oh God, that's hard. This is horrible.
Seriously, I can't even remember that. But they're really the only spots of the. I mean, I really did like that. I really did like Mustafa Ali and Trent Seven, because
that was really good.
Trent Seven is really a really good worker. And the fact is that Mustafa Ali is a really good fucking worker. So the fact that they went out there and busted that shit, Oh my God, it was really good. I loved it.
There we go. So it was Trent Seven and Mustafa, we mentioned. It was ABC against Josh Alexander, Eric Young. That was good. The System and the Nemeth brothers, I got to say. I really did enjoy that one too as well.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I thought it was good with the action that ran through it. Oh my god, it was really really good, and it was good to see the brothers together. I mean, like together.
You forget, well, especially with Dirty Dango, which makes me laugh. Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth. Like, Ryan Nemeth could have been doing so much more in AEW. Now he's in TNA with his brother, and it works. They gel, of course. And I mean, Steve Maclin and Mike Santana. That's who it was. How can we forget Mike
Santana? That's the one.
And the Rascals. PCO and Rich Swann was short, but you know what you're getting. Yo, with the rose. With the rose. For a guy his age, he was in like what, his 50s, like still doing the
damn. He's in his 50s.
Good lord. And Frankie Kazarian, Joe Hendry was fine. You know, it helped build up Frankie Kazarian being this new character.
Yeah, and I think Joe Hendry probably would have. I would have liked to have had seen Joe Hendry actually have a better match. I mean, nothing against Frankie. I mean, I know he's a veteran, and I know he's older, who just turned like 50, I think.
Which is crazy to think, right? Like he's like 50 now.
Yeah, and it was a good match. I mean, I would have rather have had seen Joe Hendry get over, but long-term storytelling. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're fine. And speaking of long-term storytelling, I can't unsee this because it was in my messages and you sent it to me. Kat Dennings and Stephanie Recur. Like I can't unsee this. Like they look so alike. I literally cannot unsee that now.
Oh yeah. Well, I beg you,
yes,
that she is beautiful.
Oh,
and Stephanie, I mean, Stephanie Vaccaro is gorgeous.
Yep.
And the fact that she looks doppelganger, there it is. They are, well, of course, I already love Kat Dennings. I mean,
oh my god, yeah, bro.
That's Kat. I mean, Kat. What more do you want? It's Kat.
It's Kat. But no, I mean, between showing these cutie beauties and just we love our women. You know this. We all up in there like swimwear. But you look at what we have with Stephanie Vaccaro. I really want to see her beat Mercedes Moné in a way, just because I'm going to say right now, she's only had 3 matches. She had the match with Willow, Sky Blue, Zeus, but I am so over Mercedes Moné already. Dude, I'm over it. I'm over it, Paul. I'm over it.
Yeah, she's just, and I already said this, like, she is not as big of a moneymaker as people are making her out to be. I'm sorry. She is not a marquee name.
No.
Charlotte is, Becky is, Bailey is up there, but she's not there yet. Of the 4 horsewomen, Mercedes is not that marquee name. Had she not been such a bitch, it would be different. And I think I understand going along, company lines and doing whatever, but she made her bed. She's sleeping in it. I'm sorry. She's making her money in AEW and Tony is paying her, but she went there with a few people who are bigger names than she is.
Yep.
Willow Nightingale and Tony Storm. Those are the bigger names in the company than she is. And Jamie Hayter. And not to mention DDS.
DMD.
Oh, DMD. Sorry, my man. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of somebody else. You know who I'm thinking about, right?
God, yeah. Yanko.
Isaac Yanko, of course. Anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, DMD. I mean, you look at the women that are there who are already established there. Mercedes doesn't necessarily, in my mind, doesn't necessarily add to it. She's just there.
So I want to add this point too, as well as we have Forbidden Door at the end of the month. The matches that we have so far, I'm okay with. I mean, Naito and Moxley should be interesting. Shane and Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, which should be fine. Like, I'm interested to see where we go with the trajectory of AEW towards the end of the month for Forbidden Door. We have MJF and Roosh in the first 30 minutes of AEW next week, commercial free. With Roosh, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. So we're going to see a lot of that next week. But before we get into Clash at the Castle, I want to mention one thing to you before we also show the CM Punk highlights from our girl Denise Salcedo, who promoted it on Instagram. Shout out to Denise.
I'm her second favorite dead man, don't you know?
I saw that. Very nice, man. Very, very nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So Ricochet, take it out, lawn darted like Rey Mysterio hitting the concrete. The power slam through the car on the windshield. Ricochet taken out by Braun Breaker. Now, if I were you, would you say you would give him like a couple week extension so he can feud and put over Braun in the match? Or you think this is it for him and he's just going to go to for me, I'd like to see him in TNA in the X division, but do you think he's AEW bound? What are you thinking about the whole Ricochet thing?
How about if I kind of throw something, kind of a curveball here?
Okay.
What if we're being duped?
And it's going to be a storyline for him to be like a heel now.
And it's going to be a storyline for him to continue on in WWE. What if we're being duped? Why would he put out a statement to say that he's leaving the company? Why not just let his contract expire like everybody else has?
True.
Why put out the statement? You know, we've been duped before.
I mean,
you know, we've been duped plenty of times over the last year or so by a lot of people who have said hasta la bye-bye and ended up staying.
Right. I mean,
you know, and I get it. We got Samantha today, you know, at Clash at the Castle. So it was good seeing, you know, our girl Samantha there. And of course, I loved hearing her say Chelsea Green.
Do you like that they added her to her theme? They added her.
I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But here's my thing. What if there is a work for him to put it out there to say what he was going to say? Of course, there has to be a motive to it. So if there is that possibility that he is going to leave, hey, cool. Congratulations. See where you're going to go. Hopefully it's TNA. I would love to see you come back to WWE with any crossover. I would love to see it. So if he goes to TNA, yeah, the X division would be a great thing. Him and Rich Swann would be amazing. Him to put over him and ABC would be cool together.
Mustafa, the Rascals.
Mustafa Ali, of course, to rewind that one with them. The Rascals, of course, Joe Hendry would be cool to see him with. Anybody there, really, anybody in AEW would be cool. Him and Eddie Edwards would probably kick ass.
Oh yeah, but here's my thing with AEW. If he goes there, we get the banger with Will Ospreay. Then what?
Then what? There's nothing. And then, I mean, aside from giving him that, I mean, what are you going to do? Put him in a tag team? What are you going to do? Give him the intercontinental, international, continental champion, whatever the hell their championships are over there anymore. What are you going to do? Are you going to send him to ROH to all of a sudden be a pure champion or be a mid-card champion there? Or is he going to be your champion in ROH for a couple of months and then boom, he's going to be gone? What are the plans for him? I think Paul would have a lot better plans. Yeah, he had him in speed, but I think in somewhere along the line there may have been something else. Hey, if he goes to TNA, hey, great. If they want him over back in New Japan or want him over to go over to, you know, revive Prince Puma over in New Japan, hey, cool, great. But I just think TNA would probably be the best landing spot for him. I mean, if not, then we're going to get duped and he'll end up being back in WWE in about, well, I don't know. His contract's up in July, so SummerSlam?
Yeah. I mean, we got Chad Gable resigning. We have a lot of stuff that's really cooking. And I'm looking forward to seeing the trajectory, like we mentioned in today's forum, of where they go next. But where we're going to go next, Paul, as we've hit a lot of the good stuff this week. And that, I say anybody, check out NXT, check out Against All Odds, check out everything that really is coming with this, excuse me. But god dang it, man, Clash at the Castle today. I want to go and mention, like you mentioned, Chelsea Green. Bayley and Piper Niven put on a hell of a match in front of her home country where she's competed against Kaylee Ray in the Insanity match. Everything that went into that match. The Queen of Insanity match from ICW Fear and Loathing, where we've seen ICW there. We have Piper Niven and Bayley. Chelsea Green, she gets ejected because Bayley stomps on her hand. She broke my hand. She goes to the back, and who is this woman? To quote Wade Barrett, she comes out in a luchador mask, acting like we don't know who the hell she is. Same attire that she wore.
Same attire.
But with a luchador mask. And she's like, Charles Robinson's like, I know it's you. I know it's you. Get out of here. I told you to get out of here. Like, she is comedy gold, and I'm here for it, man.
And man, I loved it. The fact that she that she ended up leaving again. That match in general
was really good.
I mean, it put over Piper big time. I mean, and she worked her ass off. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And I know Bailey was like, I appreciate you. I applaud you. You know what? I give you all your flowers for what you put on. And you could tell she's a top level talent. That's not just because she was in her home country. She really is a top level talent. If given the opportunity, that woman, IWC champion before. She was, I think she was the first IWC women's champion.
ICW, yep.
ICW, sorry, my bad. I get my damn letters mixed up. Anyways, but yeah, I believe she was the first women's champion there. And I mean, it was great. I mean, to see her go out there, put on that show, and do that damn thing, dude, against Bailey of all people.
Yep.
Dude, that match was just great altogether. I loved it. I'm gonna go rewatch it. I'll be back.
So for me, with Piper Niven, man, we've seen her work from the Mae Young Classic to NXT UK, even some of the Dewdrop stuff. We're gonna call her Dewdrop, and now back as Piper Niven. Yeah, I've been really enjoying the work. And also Chelsea Green can be serious when it's time to be serious, but comedy Chelsea is always gold for me. And everybody just works so hard in this, and I'm looking forward to Bailey and your queen, Miss Nia Jax, and SummerSlam, which it's coming. It's coming. I know you want to see Nia get that belt. I know you want to see her get that belt, get that dub from Bailey. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I do. I don't know if she's gonna get it, but I would love to see her get it. I really, really would. And I think it would be great to put her over like that.
Yeah, and I like both of those ladies. And I mean, I think the last time we really had one match between them for a title was what, 2016 or 2015 when Bailey was
2015 or 2016, yeah, somewhere on there.
Which is crazy. And I mean, what else is kind of crazy, man? And man, I hate to say it like this. I mean, first of all, congratulations to Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I enjoyed the match, but dude, I love me some Jade Cargill, but she needs some work. She slipped off the rope. She did the kick and power bomb. And look, if like the body wasn't next to her, one of the girls, like she could have blown out her leg. Like there was some ugly spots from Jade Cargill in this, man. Like it
looked okay. So from the way it looked like she rubbed her arm, she happened to like rub across the rope,
yeah,
and to get the tag. So I don't know if she was oiled up or what, but whatever she had on her and she rubbed it on top of that rope,
yeah,
it seemed like it made it slick. So as soon as she put her foot on it, she like literally had nothing. And I don't know if, and I know she's been practicing. I know we have all seen the videos of her in the dungeon. We've all seen her working just in general and, you know, in wrestling period. But she missed that spot. And there were a couple other spots that she missed too, but I can't really say much because Bianca missed too.
Yeah.
For herself. God, as much as I love Zoe Starks, as much as I love her, it's frustrating seeing her try things that I don't know if it's just kind of out of her element or she's just trying them. It's different if it's on Raw or if it's on, you know, that she wants to try something. Hey, cool, fine, dandy. It's Raw. It's a TV show. Yeah, everybody's watching it, but it's on a show. I think it was like a belly to back that she was doing, and I don't know if her hand slipped off of it the first time that she tried to get the grip, but it looked like she just kind of like put her on her shoulder and kind of leaned back.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like there was a lot of, and I'll say this, folks, there was a lot of clunky and clumsy spots in this match, but it wasn't bad. I mean, they worked.
No. I loved it. I loved the match. Then the 3-on-3 concept of the three women being in there, almost like it was a triple threat. It was really, really good. And I have to give it up to Isla Dawn for that last part, especially for lifting up Jade.
Oof.
I mean, oh, Bianca. It was Bianca.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah,
German.
she lifted up Bianca and she lifted her up and boom, landed her back. And it was like, oh, wow. It was, I mean, and that was pure muscle. That wasn't like Bianca, helping her out with a little bit of a tiptoe or push back. No, that was all Isla. And she just like literally like heaved her back. That was a really, really good spot. And I give that to her.
I think the right key won not only because it was, and Triple H even said this in the post game. Now I'm not going to call it a press conference, the post game show. It's like, yeah, her mom passed away, that being Alba Fire, God rest her soul. But it's like I wasn't even doing it just to give her a feel the moment. It's like I believe in these ladies. Like they're a formal tag team, they deserve it. They work so hard, and I think with these two now, we've liked them since NXT UK.
Yeah,
we've liked them since NXT. Like these two have really risen the rankings. And I mean, the nice little celebration after with their families and the flowers. Like I am excited to see the trajectory of where they go. I thought that was good. We mentioned Bayley and Piper Niven. I do also have to put over Chad Gable. My God, him and Sami Zayn, like
they fucking killed it,
bro.
They fucking killed it. I'm gonna go back to Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray. God bless that girl's soul. I mean, it was great to see her put over, for in a great match. And it was in a good match, in a really, really good match. But everything that she went through, dude, she lost her mom. And that was just over, I think 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, she
lost her mom. And just a freak accident. I mean, she just happened to step off of the curb and she happened to get hit by a car. And I'm not going to go into the details of everything, but God bless that woman's soul. God bless her mom. May she rest in peace. But I mean, I know the feelings that just to see it on her face. I mean, in the match or at the end of the match, and after getting the flowers and, getting the hugs from Isla's dad. And I think it was Isla's mom that was there. And I didn't see anybody else there with her. So it was kind of heartbreaking, but I mean, I know her mom is smiling down from heaven for her. So shout out to her for winning.
Yeah, it got me too, man. I think with family members and everything, and we've all seen this with our family members and our loved ones. I think it's just not only a good moment, but it just really puts things not only into perspective, but it just really makes you appreciate life even more in the essence of who we are. And I mean, God dang it, man! Like going back to Chad and Sammy here, like the tease of like Otis hitting Sammy, Maxine Dupree like getting the clipping of the leg, and then Otis is ready to kill him, but he doesn't. The confliction, the storytelling, Chad Gable trying to get the wins off the moonsaults and the chaos theory, Samuel almost hitting Maxine Dupree. This was pure storytelling. This was pure raw, pure action. Chad Gable is doing some of his best work ever, and I really look forward to seeing where we go from here. Sami Zayn hits the haluva kick for the 3 after Otis takes Maxine to the back, and what told it for me was that face. Oh, that face after Chad lost, and Sammy's like, I'm done with this. That's it. Chad looked like he was ready to rage. He was coming out of that cage. That face told the entire story after that match.
And remember, we went through this exact same thing with Chad and Gunther. Remember he was in that same frame of mind. Like I can beat him. And then he felt like he was pushed back because of course they gave it to Sammy, and Sammy was the one who ended up going over and was the one that ended up beating Gunther. And he was like, well, you only won because I taught you. I was the one that pushed you. I was the one that motivated you. Well, if you could have beaten Gunther, then you could have beaten freaking Sammy because you were the one that taught him. So I love this. I love where it's going, and I hope it crowns Chad at some point in time to be that guy in the Intercontinental Championship. But it's again back to it takes time for the story to kind of continue. So this is the continuance. If you look back at him and he said, I'm done with this. I don't want, you're not getting any more chances, pretty much is what he told them. So we'll see where this goes from starting Monday.
Chad and Otis at SummerSlam. You think that's going to be the
case? I think what's going to happen is Chad is going to turn on everybody. And of course, and I would like to see the Creed brothers kind of join him. And I think I've already mentioned this stable because it works. It would work, especially getting the Creed brothers in that equation for those titles that the Miz and R-Truth are holding on to. So if it gets them into there, if we end up getting DIY, can we get DIY versus the Creed brothers next year at WrestleMania? That would be a fucking banger.
Well, I love what they're doing with DIY on SmackDown and how we're
I mean, on SmackDown. I mean, I'm sorry, my bad.
You're fine. I love what they're doing with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory now, too. Austin Theory, we're slowly going to get him as a babyface now. We're slowly going to have him turn on Grayson Waller because Grayson Waller's being a dick, and I'm loving it. That of the two, they're finally going to give Austin Theory a great babyface run. Johnny Gargano's like, I know you. We've known each other for so long. Like, having him with Johnny Gargano, it's focusing on the way. Grayson Waller's a dick. Like, I'm loving the trajectory of what they're doing because they're finally.
Yeah, and I've been used to. I'm sorry because I've been used to freaking them being on DIY, being on Raw, Raw. So it's like, but you know what? If we do end up getting the Creed brothers versus the Miz and R-Truth at SummerSlam, then hey, great. I would like to see it. I mean, and I would like to see them get somewhere. And them actually, I would love to see GOD versus DIY too. That would be a fucking banger too.
It would. And I mean, speaking of bangers, we'll now go to Cody and AJ. The chain, the handcuffs, the belt, the kendo sticks, the table. He flung that chair, boy, oof, right at AJ Styles. This match was synonymous not only with just the 80s style of what we got to see, the Mama Rhodes interaction, slapping AJ and just taunting his mom, but that crowd, Cody Rhodes, like the crowd, let's put it over, Scotland, the UK fans at their finest, loving it from top to bottom. They were into it, the chants and everything. The electricity was there at the Hydro.
Exactly, and I love the decimal level that Triple H said that they're going to start to bring to a lot of the places to see who gets the loudest. You know what? I think that would be great because, and let's be honest, U.S. crowds are just not hitting it the exact same way we want them to. I'm sorry, and you can hate on me all you want, but it's the fucking truth. Because you look at these European crowds, we're spoiled because we get it week after week.
They don't.
Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Friday. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
Yep.
We are spoiled because or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're all spoiled here because we all get the crowds that are here in the US. And some of us show up, some of us don't. Some cities show up, Chicago being one, Philadelphia being another.
Yep.
New York and Brooklyn show up. Certain crowds in certain areas, yes, they show up. Other places, not so much. No. But I get it. Some places are better than others. But man, these European crowds, man, these overseas crowds, period. And I hate saying it, but even the ones in Jeddah are actually, and the ones in Saudi Arabia are actually loud too.
Yeah.
And that's bad if you're hearing me say that.
No, I'm right there with you because of how I feel as well about them going to Saudi Arabia. But Jeddah and Riyadh love it. They're infectious. They want to see it every time they come over. They want to see their favorite wrestlers. They're into it. Like Scotland, they're into it. England, they're into it. You go to Italy, Japan, they're into it. The problem with the U.S. thing is, like we talk about, we're spoiled. We get it 6 days a week, especially with pay-per-views that may be on a Saturday or Sunday. We're so concerned with wrestling. They don't get it a lot over there. And what we got here with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles was, I like the finish because it reminded me of John Cena and JBL from Judgment Day 2005, where Cena was all bloodied and JBL was bloody. And then before he even knocked him with the stairs, he yells, "I quit." And then friggin' same thing with AJ. Before he tears his head off with the steps, "I quit." And then he does it right after the fact. So I think it was a nice storytelling for Cody and AJ, the feud to end here. What we also opened up to was Solo Sikoa comes onto the ramp. GOD beats him up. Kevin Owens and Randy Orton make the save. So my indication of where we're going is, and you can tell me this, Money in the Bank, we're going to get a 6-man. Randy, Cody, and Kevin Owens against the Bloodline. And then we get Cody and Solo at SummerSlam for the title.
You know what? And I think I've said this before. I think there were other. I think I didn't like that this match was actually on this pay-per-view.
Right.
I mean, on this PLE. So I keep calling it fucking pay-per-view.
I-
Anyway, same shit.
I know.
Same shit. Anyways, the thing is that it didn't need to be here. I mean, you could have just literally had the World Heavyweight Championship match, and you probably could have had another match, you know, on this card. Because what you're going to get at Money in the Bank is that you're going to get the two Money in the Bank matches. You're going to get probably this match between Cody, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. But I think if we do get that, I think what's going to happen is that we may actually get a return of Roman Reigns. And that's just me. That's just me. Maybe you too.
No, I feel you, dude. And I mean, for me, I think the return has to happen at SummerSlam. I don't see it happening at Money in the Bank. But I'm loving the trajectory and the direction. Like we talked about, the storytelling aspect of what we get to see. Like I love the story of where we're going, where we're taking this, the slow build, the transitioning. I mean, I'll even say this: Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. That crowd loving Drew McIntyre, the bagpipes coming out. I love what they did for Drew. Damian Priest being public enemy number one. People hated Damian Priest. These two had a great match. And then, of course, the camera shot of we don't know who's counting the pin because the ref takes a bump. And then it's CM Punk with the 2. And then Drew McIntyre's like, oh, shit. And then CM Punk low blows him. South of Heaven, 1, 2, 3. CM Punk has cost Drew McIntyre again. Boom. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre give me it at SummerSlam. I really did like how they did the ending. I mean, you kind of knew the Punk was going to be there because he's like, maybe I have to take a trip to Scotland. So
yeah, but you didn't get the pop. You didn't get the pop of the
yeah.
You know, you didn't get that pop. So the fact that we got what we got, and you know, he came in the ring and then he counted a 2 and then he stopped and then he goes, his shoulder came up, you know, like I go, he's all like, dude, that was great. That's why I said that this is the reason why I said I think that this could have been the main, the World Heavyweight Championship should have been the main only major title should have been on it. I mean, aside from the IC and aside from the tag team match, because I think there were other feuds that could have been built into this, and you could have saved this match in particular probably for Money in the Bank. You know, between the match between Cody and AJ for Money in the Bank. I mean, because it really is only a few weeks away. But if you're trying to set up for this 6-man out there, okay, it works. But I kind of have this little quick theory as something that kind of popped in my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
What if at Money in the Bank, Paul Levesque, Triple H, walks up to the wise man, you know, Mr. Paul Heyman, and says, I got this unexpected phone call. I think you should take it. And then he grabs it and he goes, hello? And then his eyes just kind of like get like really, really big, and it's Roman Reigns. But you don't hear Roman Reigns. You just see his eyes get big.
Yeah, the imagery.
But that would be a way to close out the show.
I'm right there with you. No, dude, I'm right there with you because I look at it like this. So you have to have the introductory of we're going to get Roman and Solo. We're going to have, I even said this, like if they're going to bring in Tilatanga, who is going to be Hikuleo, you bring him on the side with the new bloodline. I definitely see Jacob Fatu going with Roman at his side of the bloodline. What do you think?
Yeah, because if you look at it, if you look at how the bloodline is, if Hikuleo comes over, if he comes and he joins the bloodline, I mean, because you can't have Jacob on with Solo because he would outshine him,
right?
Big time. He would outshine him so much because he looks like a bigger worker than freaking Solo.
Correct.
And he looks like a more entertaining worker than Solo. So if we get Jimmy and Jay, if I'm not saying Jay's gonna or Jimmy's gonna join or Jay's gonna join them, but I'm saying if if that's along the line, where does Zillow fit in?
Right. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. I know he's doing his thing at Reality of Wrestling right now, but
Yeah.
oh, man, you have me really interested on who else they're going to bring into this. I mean, till we get The Rock. The reason why I'm saying not do Cody and Rock at SummerSlam because Rock's filming the movie. We don't know his schedule, but we know it's somewhere in there. So, dude, you have me pumped for this. We're all pumped for this. And I mean, I got to say, I really did enjoy Clash at the Castle today. It makes me look forward to seeing what we do at Money in the Bank because the qualifiers start on Monday. So before we wrap up with CM Punk and some of his comments from the presser, I want to get your thoughts. Why at 6 coming this Monday? Well, we already know Bo Dallas, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, Nikki Cross, and Eric Rowan.
The massacre is coming.
The massacre is coming.
I think I can't wait to see what they're going to do because we've been waiting so long for all this. We're just kind of like biting at the bit, trying to see what's going to happen. So we'll just hope to see what happens.
Can I also point out the dumbass of the week really quickly? Because I got to put this out there. I said it to you. I didn't know him until we found this. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kosha Irby, who is the COO of AEW. And he wrote, because they did Council Bluffs, Iowa and Iowa for Dynamite Collision, right? So Kosha Irby wrote, Council Bluffs is home to fantastic fans, a charming city, and a subpar venue partner. For those who choose AEW Collision on TV in person, thank you. And somebody wrote, superb. I think that was what you were going for because they thought it was a typo. And Kosha Irby goes, I said what I said. Way to fucking bury Iowa, bruh.
Way to bury a place where you actually come to, to show a show. So you did that. You ain't going to be welcome back very, very well.
No, way to friggin' bury him.
And they're probably going to continue to keep shitting on him. So let's continue. Let's continue, man. Because I got to hear Denise and I got to hear CM Punk because this is the best part of my fucking day.
Oh, you're very welcome, my friend. So we will go to this one from the presser. We have 3 here. So here we go. We'll start with this one.
Minus here for seconds out. CM Punk. This is a major bad blood rivalry for Drew McIntyre, and I think the first match between you both should just be a Hell in a Cell match right out the gate. What do you make of that? And is there anyone else on the Raw roster that you've not faced yet in this run that you'd love to face?
I mean, this is all what was your name?
Jamal.
I mean, this Jamal and me, just all due respect. This is why I'm happy that you do not run a professional wrestling company. First match is a Hell in a Cell.
Please.
Brother, you gotta take that fantasy booking shit somewhere. Didn't know how to donut, by the way. Did that answer your question?
It did, but I still really want to see it.
Look, this is my plan. I don't want to ever do a Hell in a Cell. I don't want to ever do a ladder match. Like I'm gonna beat him up with my 2 fists, right? He wants to make fun of my tricep. I'm gonna hurt him with it. I'm gonna figure out something, maybe learn a new hold. Hit him with my tricep. It's bionic now.
Bionic now.
We go home. I'm gonna go get cleared, and then I'm gonna come beat the shit out of Drew McIntyre.
Some broken dreams right there, CM Punk for me.
I'll break his dreams. Break his face.
Come on, man.
Okay.
I love that. I fucking love that. That was, yeah. He ain't a fantasy booker, He's just wanting him to fucking. You know what? It's first match after you want me to be in a Hell in a Cell. Yeah, ain't gonna fucking happen. Straight up, that's not gonna happen. No. You're lucky Cody Rhodes went in a freaking Hell in a Cell with a fucking torn tricep.
Right.
It's a torn bicep. I mean, that was about as far as you're gonna get as somebody getting into a fucking Hell in a Cell, especially like that.
Can I just say, first off, the donuts was a nice touch, and Triple H was like, maybe that's why he's so angry because he has all that sugar in him. He's hungry, so give him.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, man. I love Triple H's response.
Me too, but here's my thing: he's wearing a Celtic Football Club, which is the rival to Fulham. He's eating donuts. He's doing. I'm old. I'm wise. And
I just don't give a shit. That's exactly what he's doing. He's like playing the heel face as best as possible because it's like you're in Scotland, you're in Glasgow, and you know where you're at, but you're gonna wear the competition's freaking shirt, the rival shirt or jersey. I mean, that was beautiful, man. The fact that he did that and he went out there and he was still playing up the shit. He fucking loves it. Hey, and it's shout out to Phil, because this is like a rewind to fucking the presser at fucking after Brawl Out.
Now, besides the comedy here, are we waiting for Tony Khan's response? Does he go on Twitter?
Yeah, he'll say something stupid. We already know he'll say something stupid.
Oh boy. So here's the last one, because this, again, like, if you guys have not seen this, like, this has really been good. I'm old, I'm wise, and I work with great people. First of all, can we also just say that you could tell from his facial expressions and just how happy he seems? Like, he's really happy to be back here, and the trajectory of how him and Triple H are in a good place now. I think this whole presser worked very well, and you can just tell the maturity of both men.
Yeah. And even, you know what? It's a different place. Like he said, it's a different place now. The everything there is very different. So the play Denise what she asked him.
My answer is somebody here told me that they were extremely happy that I was back to experience the atmosphere and the culture that I started to grow here. And a lot of it, and this is not my words, a lot of it was because of me, why this place is like this now. A lot of the things that I fought for and asked for, sometimes begged for, are now in place. And it's just a much better place. I'm older and wiser. It's a great crew. The people who like me will know that I'm being earnest and honest and believe me. And the people that don't like me will find a reason to twist that into, you know, oh, he's just lying, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. We're here. We're the ones that do the work, and we know what goes on behind the scenes. And it's one word, it's magic. My answer is.
That says it all right there. Magic.
Beautiful. And it was all great. You know it as well as I do. This atmosphere without Vince there is completely different. We all see it and we all know it. We all know this to the core, that Vince is gone. There's nothing there for him, nothing there left that was his. And it's elevating everybody. We are seeing WWE in a completely different light now. We are seeing this Paul Levesque era can transform what we know as WWE under Vince McMahon.
I think with the right trajectory, like you mentioned, of the product under the Vince McMahon auspices was just so hectic. You want to have a work environment where there's more creativity. Everybody's at one. You want to work with everyone. And I think that's what Triple H provides, but also at the same time, if you could bring a guy like CM Punk back who was like, I hated this place, I'm going to go over to this place, and this place is even fucking worse than the place that I was originally with, and now here we are. I think it's great to see the sign of the times and how the wrestling business is going to go, and I really look forward to seeing how the future WWE goes with, like we mentioned, the TNA crossover with NXT, Noah, GCW, friggin' Marigold. Like, I am so excited for this, man. I have never seen such a fresher and hotter time professional wrestling.
I didn't say her name because I didn't want to butcher it, but by next week I will know her name.
Okay.
The girl, the young lady that that Io Sky is gonna face. I will know it by next week. I promise I will know it by next week.
Okay.
And I will say it. What?
I will say the same thing with me. I don't know her name either.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to butcher it. Okay, so next week we will both same time.
Yep.
Okay, we'll be back here next week.
Yeah, be back next week and we'll talk more about that. But yeah, this has been another edition of the Weekly Review. Forgive my snotty noseness and my running allergies, folks. But yeah, my sniffles, you know what I'm saying? I got a cold, a common cold, for God's sake. I feel like friggin' Forrest Gump. You got a cough, you got a cold? Yeah, a little bit of that. But sickness, getting down with the sickness aside, I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate this man right here, because we are back with another Weekly Review, you son of a boom. So before we close this out, Paul Morales, do you promote your social medias, the whole nine guys, man?
Okay, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok, which I am in the process of transforming. Yes, I still am. And of course, you can find me on the RWT page. And of course, you can find me on X under that name right there, Dead Man of RWT. And of course, I already have the first 6 episodes of this show on my YouTube, which again, back to Dead Man of RWT. And of course, all of us, everything else, of course, you could find on this man's page, who I love fucking dearly. Mr. Michael Larkin, this floor is yours, sir. Have at it.
I love you too, my brother. So you can follow me, Mike Larkin 92. Subscribe. We are almost to 900 subscribers. We've been building this channel up, so let's keep it going, keep it rolling, folks. SM Show 1 and MCL 92 on the Twitter, MLarkin MB and Larkin _92 on the Instagram, StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com. Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast on the channel, the weekly review with myself and Paul Morales, deep into the heart of wrestling with Robert Davis and Nicola McDonald, Uncaged with Daniel Crimmins, Stephen Mike Show with my boy Steve Nicoforo. We got it all for you on the Mike Larkin YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed this edition of the weekly review. We back, we better than ever. We're going to be talking some more wrestling next week. We got predictions in a few weeks. There's a whole lot of going on. So for Paul Morales, my name is Mike Larkin. We will see you next week, and
Oh.